esperando. Estamos grabando. Nous sommes en train. Ladies and gentlemen, this is episode 55 of the Lingaholics podcast. Been a couple of weeks, maybe a little more since the previous episode, but we just dropped our last interview with Valeria Turina. Spasiba, Valeria, for being on the show with us. Always fun to have guests. We're going to have plenty more in the future. So here it is, folks, episode 55, bringing on in September. Wake me up when September ends. Well, it's October 1st, folks. So here we are. It's still a little sunny here in Alberta where I reside. The leaves are changing color. But it's still nice. You can still go for a run, go out for a pinch, and have some fun. And on the language front, we'll get into it here. Personally, it's probably like 20% my own language learning and 80% language teaching. So it's interesting when the ratio like flips sometimes, and you're just more on the teaching end of languages and lots of things. I really want to get into the topic of visuals and how that could play a role, because I recently attended an interesting professional development that got really into images and how our brains transfer those a lot faster, and much, much, much more. So with that said, this is Senor on the microphone. Let's hand it over to Ontario, where it's a couple hours ahead. Senor Sueco, Suequito lindo.
Tudo bem. En fait, j'ai pratiqué beaucoup de français. Récemment, oui, j'ai pris beaucoup de cours en italki. I've taken a lot of French classes on italki. I'm every week now. I'm French, Spanish. So I'm very serious.
But you're doing French every week.
Doing French every week, Spanish every 2 weeks.
Gotcha. Nice.
So I've become very serious with these two languages, and I'm very motivated to attain a very high level of fluency in both of them. Those are my principal languages here in life.
Absolutely.
Yes, I'm very motivated. And yes, we got a good group here. We got a good meetup group here in Guelph, Ontario.
Mm-hmm.
Every 2 weeks we meet up with Spanish. Every 2 weeks we meet up with French now. Me and this other guy were spearheading this initiative. And then I have the contact details to a couple other French meetups in town that I haven't reached out to yet because I've been busy.
Mm-hmm.
How
are you getting in touch with the meetup app?
I ask around, and no, this is off meetup apps, off the meetup.
You know a guy who knows a guy.
I know a guy who knows a guy. If you know what I mean.
Ooh.
Right. That's how it works in the language biz. In the language biz.
Small world, man. Languages are a small world, I think. Actually.
Well, it's kind of a small world, but everyone there's stuff everywhere. Right, and like everyone who's into languages knows someone else who's into languages, right? So that's where the network comes in. There's a lot of networking in the language industry or in the language space, if you know what I mean.
100%. Yeah.
I'm very satisfied with my progression recently.
Dude, I'm curious to.
I'm very satisfied.
Yeah.
I found the thing that I'm the most satisfied with is that I've found a very good level of sustainability in my progress. It's very automatic at this point. Like I'm flying on autopilot, and it's just like every day I'm getting a little bit better at something, right? If it's like just learning a word, listening to a podcast, or learning a word through talking to someone or something, it's just getting a little bit more fluent every day. And that's what's more important. And I can see it with both French and Spanish right now, which is nice. So I'm very content, very satisfied.
It's the nicest surprises. I was in my NAFTA chat last night, and we were talking about moving houses, and then Josh used a Spanish word I've never heard before. Chatarra. So we're talking about like la casa, and like Josh was like, "Ay, tuve un chingo de chatarra in mi casa vieja." Chatarra? Like junk and scraps, junk. And I was like, oh man, I've never heard that word.
No way.
Yeah, dude. I know what you're speaking of. It's like,
see, I learned something now too.
Things come about, but you got to have like those conversations. You got to have those for stuff to come up.
Es muy bueno, ¿no?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So what I do every time, like I go back and review all the words that I've searched on the Spanish dictionary app or on Google Translate.
It's a nice history feature, eh? Like the previous searches on the Spanish Dict app.
Yes. Like I just learned yesterday, sepultar, for example, to bury something.
Oh, okay.
Sepultado. Algo fue sepultado. I think yes, I was listening to a podcast about the volcano in La Palma, in las Islas Canarias in
Yeah,
Spain.
yeah.
And they were talking about las casas sepultadas. Las casas sepultadas. See, always something. Always,
man. Always.
Yeah, true.
That's what I like. So yeah, we're doing well here in Ontario. We're on the cusp of fall as well. Like the leaves are turning reddish now, which is beautiful. And it's nice. I like the temperature when it's around 10 degrees Celsius.
Great running temp. Yeah.
Great running temp and great like living temp.
Yeah,
it's like
lots
hoodie.
of people
It's like hoodie
fall.
season here. It's like hoodie season here now.
I surveyed my class the last few weeks. Everyone loves fall.
Fall's my favorite season, man.
I know, and you're not alone.
I love fall. It's
like fall, nice. But it is nice for sure.
Summer, go summer.
The pumpkin spice lattes.
I'm team summer.
Screw summer. Summers are too hot. Summers are too hot. Summers are too hot here. Summers are way too hot. Alberta, summers are nice. They can be really hot too, but here it's just way too hot, way too humid.
I think Alberta summer is like paradise on earth.
It's nice.
It's nice. It is nice, except when it's like 40 plus.
And when BC is burning.
The thing about Alberta is like there's always 1 week in the summer when it's like 40 degrees plus, and there's always 1 week in the winter where it's like 40 degrees minus.
Yeah, just a taste of the extremes.
So. Yes, but that's a little too much for me too. The weather's not perfect anywhere.
That's
the weather's not.
No, it's imperfect.
Yes, but fall here in Ontario is pretty darn nice, to be completely frank with you guys.
Hopefully it's
anyway
baseball season still.
Baseball season, that's right. Go Blue Jays, go Red Sox. Cool. Speaking of that, let's throw it over to Corea del Sur, South Korea. How are you doing, bud? Cody?
Been to the north yet?
So Marcus,
Vizca Barça, by the way.
Marcus, you mentioned being on autopilot with your languages. And I just want to say that I am definitely not on autopilot right now. I feel like I'm navigating a minefield.
On the runway or what?
Between navigating.
Are you grounded?
With everything with my new job, like dealing with a language that I'm like not very good at. Like I just started taking Taekwondo, which is something new that I'm doing. I'm back in the gym now. And relatively new relationship. Like there's a lot of new things that I'm like kind of figuring out how to balance in my life right now. So I am 100% not on autopilot. But I'll get through it.
All right, Pinch, you want to tell us about this Taekwondo you started?
Yes.
Let's get into that.
Yeah, that's the biggest development
recently. Some martial arts.
Yeah, so I started doing that on Tuesday, and it's actually 3 times a week. It's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday in the mornings before I go to work, and it's pretty good. It's pretty cool. It's not. There's a couple things that I wasn't really expecting, which is it's turning out to be kind of funny more than anything. I thought I'd be in a class with like, maybe like some guys my age, and like I could make some friends or something like that. And apparently, I have 2 classmates, and they're like these like 60-year-old women. So
las
viejitas. Okay.
Yeah. So it's like it's kind of funny, and the instructor he's also fairly old. He's got to be in his 60s, and I'm really glad to have him as an instructor though, because he's very well known in the Taekwondo community in Korea. Like he's in some top like
nationally.
Yeah, nationally, he's nationally renowned. So I'm like, oh, okay, I feel very honored to be under his instruction, and I can tell like everything like he's taught so far. I can tell he's like top notch. So
is he referred to as a sensei like karate?
No.
What would you call it?
They're in so the Korean equivalent of sensei is kwanjang.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, kwanjang.
So that's how you refer to him always?
Yeah, but he is the grand master.
The Grand Kanjong.
Yeah, he's got a different rank. So he's Chong Kwanjang Nim.
Oh, it's like extra
Yeah.
formality.
Yeah, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
And
Okay.
yeah, so the first day was kind of just like an orientation day, getting to familiar with the routine and everything. And then the second day was that put into practice. We went a little bit faster and got a little bit more intense about what we were doing. Like a lot of stretching. At the first, it's a lot of stretching and really like opening up your body. And then we did a lot of like some punching and kicking practice. And it was so funny when we were doing that. Of course, like the lady, there was only one other lady there with me that day. She was just going, and he was holding up. You know how they have like the pads, right? Like they hold up the pad for you to punch and kick. So she was going first, and like the master was like getting her to hit that. And then I went, and I was like just like throwing everything I had into it. And I was like punching it, so I was kicking it and like punching it so hard. And we were yelling too, because he wanted us to yell like yeah, like every time that we hit it. So I was like, you guys know how loud my voice is. Like I was like screaming and like kicking and punching this thing. And this lady was just looking at me like, oh my god, this guy's an animal.
He's going off. First day of Taekwondo.
Yeah, and then the third day was we started learning the first form.
Can you explain to the listener what a form is?
Yeah. Yeah, so a form is like, I think if you've seen any kind of martial arts in movies, then you know that a form is like when they do like a certain routine of
sequence,
movements.
right?
Yeah, it's like a sequence of movements.
Okay.
And they're based on offense and defense moves. So you have like blocking, kicking, punching, whatever, things like that. So yeah, we started learning the first form for Taekwondo. And
do you have when you're doing those, because I remember back when I did karate for a short while, like I remember like there was the steps. I think it was counting actually in Japanese was how you remembered. And even my dad, who's like my dad who's a black belt and doesn't speak any Japanese, like to this day he can still like do some of the forms speaking like counting in Japanese. So is that how they like Taekwondo same steps?
When you're doing the forms, you don't need to count.
Okay. Right.
Yeah, but when you're doing a lot of the warm-up exercises, there's a lot of counting. And actually, this is really funny. When especially I noticed this especially when we started doing the forms.
Yeah.
I had taken Taekwondo for a couple years when I was a kid, like 7, 8, 9 years old, I think. And the movement started coming back to me.
Oh,
like something I hadn't done for 20 years. It was still there. And I was doing the movements and I was like, this seems familiar. And I didn't remember how to do it, obviously, but like when I was doing the movements, I was like, oh my God, I've done this before. So that muscle memory was still there after 20 years. I thought that was so interesting.
Yeah. I think it's like if you learn to skate at a really young age, I feel like if you didn't skate for like 60 years, you can still come back and skate.
It's kind of like languages. If you learned a language at a young age, you're like, whoa, still come back and be like, oh, I kind of know this.
Ah, frig. I know. That's why. Oh man, so jelly you got like a second language as a kid. Because I'm like, I would love.
Yeah.
You, Suequito lindo. Yeah, man.
Suequilito.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's cool though. Cody, I got a question though. Are you doing all of the instructions in English or in Korean?
Yeah, that's my question too.
A lot of it is in Korean.
Nice.
Because the other ladies are Korean ladies, and I mean, of course, the master's Korean, so he speaks Korean most of the time, And if he sees that I don't really get something, then he speaks English. Because actually,
Little
this is like
clarifier. Yeah.
There's a lot of foreigners that go to this gym. It's actually called like a foreigners Taekwondo gym, and so the master speaks English fairly decently. And if he sees that I don't really catch something, then he'll explain it in English for me. But most of the time it's Korean, so I have to speak Korean when I'm there, and I have to listen to what they're saying and all the instructions and things like that. So it's pretty intense, because I think when you're learning something new like that, even in your native language, that's intense enough. So when you have to do it in a foreign language, it's like that extra layer.
But
Like,
it shouldn't be the most complex language.
No,
right?
Like, that's why
what's nice.
Yeah, that's why it's not so bad. So when you're doing a lot of the movements and when you're actually learning how to
just
do
like
something,
commands.
it's not bad. Yeah, the commands aren't really that too bad. It's what I'm talking about is when they start talking about something else. Because there's a lot of that in class. So when they start saying anything more, then I'm like, oh god, like my brain starts to hurt.
Gotcha.
Yeah, like when he starts explaining something or like that.
Going in depth on it. But so what's like, do you know like kick or punch in Korean now? Or whatever move?
No.
No, but like it would be the most common command at a Korean Taekwondo
So here's
class.
the thing. I actually was studying Korean last week, but my focus switched from what I wanted my routine to be to just learning something very specific. And that is the oath that you need to. So when you go into the dojang, that's what it's called.
Okay. Dojo.
When you go into the dojang, you have to salute the flag, like with your hand over your heart. And then you have to bow to everyone and say
your higher ups, right? Like everyone a higher belt than you.
Yeah. 안녕하세요.
안녕하세요.
And then you get changed and you go to the line. There's a line that you stand on, and then everyone again salutes the flag, and you start with the spirit of Taekwondo. That's the way that it translates. And then you have to repeat that. Everyone repeats that. This is all in Korean. So I have to repeat these like values in Korean at the beginning of every class. And then there's 4 lines, like an oath essentially, that you have to repeat.
I pledge allegiance to Taekwondo.
Well, it's not really that, but it's kind of like that.
Yeah.
And I of course have had to learn everything because it's a kind of advanced language. So I had to like look up. That's basically what I studied every time I went to the dojang on the bus. I would like just study the oath and like learn all the words in it and just like try to memorize it. But the thing is like if I just did it by myself and I just like repeated it by myself, it would be fine. But the thing is I have to keep up with native speakers while they're saying this.
How long is this? Like Lord's Prayer length or what?
Here, I got it on my phone.
Yeah, just do it.
Yeah, I find
okay. I'll say everything I have to say. Okay.
Okay.
So for the Korean speakers that are listening to this, don't judge me too much for my pronunciation. Okay.
괜찮아요.
Okay. This is everything I have to say for the values and oath. Okay. This is all in Korean. Taekwondo 정신 1. 예의 2. 염치 3. 인내 4. 국기 5. 백철불굿 관원선서 1. 나는 타이크원도 정신을 준수하고 사범과 선배의 명령에 절대 복종한다. 2. 나는 강령을 받들어 무도 정신에 웃고나지 않게 자유와 정의의 사도가 되겠다. 4. 나는 타이크원도 파천과 관의 명예를 위하여 몸과 마음을 바친다. 4. 나는 나라에 충성하고 부모에 효도하며 사회의 여건이 되겠다. That's
Jesus.
everything I have to say,
Jesus.
and I have to keep up with native speakers while they
Yeah,
say
plus
that.
you have to have
That's
that memorized,
memorized?
eh?
Well,
That's
he
longer than
has
Lord's
it.
Prayer, I think.
He
What
has
the
it
hell
on
is
a
the Lord's
board.
Prayer?
It's on a
Our
board, so
Father, who art
I
in
can
heaven,
read it.
hallowed be
But
thy
still,
name.
even when I'm reading it, it's in like
Pinched 'em come.
messy native speaker writing. It's not in clear like typewriting.
Nice Hangul.
Right? Yeah. So that's another thing when you learn if you when you learn a non-Latin script language, reading native speakers writing is so difficult. So I guess you guys don't really have experience. Well, Ian, do you have
like
experience
Cyrillic
with that?
like cursive Cyrillic is difficult.
Yeah, but have you ever read like a native Ukrainian's handwriting?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's difficult.
Yeah. It's so hard.
Yeah,
man.
and then like Korean, just like offhandedly, right? Not like I search that out, but like the strokes.
Yeah, and like this is
Right.
something I'm exposed to like Korean people's handwriting, not super often, but I see it
Enough.
like semi commonly, and it's man, I can't read it. And I had the same when I was in China. Like sometimes I'd read Chinese people's handwriting. I'd be like, I don't know what this says because I think with your native language, like you kind of your brain automatically picks everything out. But when this is all new to you and you've like never seen it, it's so hard to read.
Some people are just messy printers, though.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's right.
Especially guys. Not to be sexist to the dudes, but girls have nicer writing than us.
And this is something you notice when you're a teacher and you're marking things.
Or when a girl just writes on the board, like when she writes on the whiteboard. This is a generalization, but it's true. Like it's way nicer than guys.
Yeah.
But people print messy in English, and it's hard to decipher, let alone in a different language and script.
Yeah, that's true. And so Ian, you teach high school, so
correct. Yeah.
I'm sure like some of the kids probably have bad handwriting, but imagine elementary school kids.
I was asking the kids actually, do they still do handwriting? And apparently they still do. That's a skill I think if you lose it. Swecko, did you have to learn handwriting?
Like cursive?
Cursive?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Do you keep it up?
Oh yeah.
Really?
No, I don't keep it up, but I can do it.
Oh, it's painful.
Like I have my signature. My signature is
okay.
cursive.
Yeah.
Oh,
okay.
Wait a minute.
But like write a letter though.
Wait a minute. I'm talking about something else. I'm not referring to handwriting as in cursive. I'm just referring to writing.
Or printing?
Yeah, I'm just talking about printing.
I take lab notes. I work in a lab, bro.
Oh,
I take
talking
lab
about like
notes all
cursive.
The time.
No. When I hear someone say writing, I think cursive.
No, you don't. It doesn't necessarily have to be cursive.
Printing.
It doesn't necessarily have to be cursive, but like I mean, like I write in a notebook every day.
Oh no, I do it. Boatload of that, but like I'm talking. Sorry, like cursive.
You know, I think the confusion for that distinction comes from just how much technology is in our. Because I actually
that's true too. Yeah,
I forgot that handwriting is synonymous with cursive.
It's not though.
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah, it is.
Not necessarily.
At least in Canada,
it
is.
is.
If you say handwriting, like everyone thinks.
How many people write in cursive?
Great question. I don't think many now, right? And that's Cody's.
Like I know how to do it because they made us learn how to do it.
But that's a skill I lost.
Me too. I can't write cursive anymore.
Like,
I can do my name.
I'm pretty confident. Like I can write cursive still.
I wrote one word. I was remember this one time I was because I was a substitute teacher for 2.5 years in the sub plan in the grade 5 class. I said, please, to practice their cursive, could you write in cursive about their science notes? I'm like, yeah, sure, I can do that. Then I go to do it, and I'm like, how do you find that letter? like, here's the deal, kids. I'm gonna print. You do cursive. Doodle bam. But like, yeah, and I was joking with my class the other day.
I think I'm pretty good at it actually. Like I would be able to write.
Well, it's aesthetically pleasing. Like I remember like my grandma used to write us like letters and send us like snail mail, and it'd be like written in cursive and like very old timey and fashionable. It was really cool.
Yeah.
But now it's just like a bastardized version of it.
So quick question. How are your guys' signatures?
Oh, that's because you do that all the time, right?
My signature is in cursive.
It isn't?
Is it cool?
Mine is.
Mine is too.
Is what?
In cursive.
Oh yeah, of course.
No,
Yeah,
that's not
that
a fourth.
has
Some
to be.
people actually don't have.
That's lame.
cursive
No,
keyboards.
do your name in cursive.
But so, like, how do you guys do your signature, more or less? Do you do like the
That's
full
muscle
name?
memory now. I do like my name, like the I. I kind of do like a big swoop for the I, and then like the A and the N I like tie together, and then I just do like an R with a long line and put like a dot because that dot represents the
Nice.
I in my last name. Like, I was like, all right, yeah, your
Nice.
signature. You got to have a signature.
But you
what if
do
the
your
Alcoholics get it big one day? We got to be signing stuff.
You do your entire name, like no
I do my name. I do my full name.
My last name is just an R though, like R.
Oh, okay.
dot.
You do that. Like I do my full name, and I have like a long name, so I compress it, and I think it looks kind of cool. I have like this long cursive compressed, and I do everything as one, right? With the like the M and Marcus and the I in English are like big, like really big, just
Right.
to make
Right, because the
that
capital,
distinction.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they're I really exaggerate the capitalization.
But
And do you include your middle name?
I don't have a middle name.
Oh, so you just have Marcus.
Sweckos have
Huge
middle
Marcus.
Yeah, they do. I just don't have one.
Oh, you don't have one. Okay.
I'm special.
Cody, what's your middle name? I think you told us before.
James.
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 Yeah. What's yours?
Stuart.
Ian Stewart Renier.
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 En français, le coup de français, c'est le Renier. Oui. Exactement.
Mm-hmm.
It would have been cool if you had an indigenous middle name. No?
Could be.
Maybe.
I like here in Siksika, like where I teach, the Siksika reserves nearby, and kids have like really cool last names, like Running Rabbit or like Yellow Old Woman.
Yeah, what if you had something like that?
No, it'd be cool. But you know,
Ian,
it didn't exactly
Bison,
Ian,
yeah.
Ian Bison Hunter,
Elk Hunter,
yeah.
Something
Elk Man.
Anyway, speaking of that, let's get into Azrin and his Blackfoot.
Yeah, holy smokes. Yeah, folks.
That's a smooth transition.
Well, yeah, and okay, Cody, you sent the link, the news story initially. And our boy Azrin, who's been on the pod twice, the Calgary Language Nerds, is hosting a sold out, by the way, sold out course. Can't even get in now until next semester, next 12-week session on the Blackfoot language, which here in southern Alberta and northern Montana is like pretty much the main Indigenous language. And yeah, so Canada just had this past September 30th, got the day off work. Quite a few people did across the country. It was, I think the official name is the Day of Truth and Reconciliation, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's the official name of the holiday now. And anyways, starting on that day, Azrin found a young Blackfoot gentleman from northern Montana, and they're doing a Blackfoot course online, which like I was super interested. I just was totally late to sign up because I was like showing my class. I was like on Wednesday before we had the day off, and I was like, yeah, there's this course and stuff. And like I go to show the link, is like sold out. I was like, damn, I don't know how many people you had like to sell it out, but yeah, pretty cool. Like using Azrin's methodology and pedagogy, I assume, and teaching Blackfoot. So that's really like the dream, no? To see more and more languages, kind of get a course and get promoted. People want to learn it, and I mean, as a language nerd, that's kind of what I focus on. Like what's the revitalization of lots of these Indigenous languages. So really cool to see. Made the CTV. So shout out to Azrin, and I hope the first course is good, and I hope you have openings for next time. So I don't know, you guys have thoughts on Truth and Reconciliation Day? And I mean, I'd like to see this for like Cree or Stony or
it's not a thing here in Ontario. It's not a thing apparently, so I didn't realize that we actually had it.
Did you? Well, that was the thing. Like some people, even like fellow teachers here in Alberta, some had
it's not a statutory holiday here.
Well, it's super new. It's super new. So like maybe next year it might be.
Yeah, but we're not as progressive as you guys out in Alberta when it comes to that.
But yeah, I don't know. Is everyone's wearing the orange shirts, the Blue Jays, everyone's wearing the orange shirts and everything. Residential school is a big focus, but for the language geek side, like Indigenous language revitalization. So kudos to, I'd love to get, I believe his name's Cole, if I'm not mistaken. The name of the article, it'd be a super fun podcast guest. Maybe when the course is like done, see how it went for him about Blackfoot. So shout out to the Calgary language nerds.
Is that going to become like the new, like an addition to the Saturday language meetup?
Could.
2 hours
Why
of Blackfoot.
Yeah.
Well, whatever. When you go to
like
the meetup
Spanish,
now,
French, Blackfoot.
The beauty of the meetup now, like in the park, is there's just like groups. There's like a Mandarin group, French group, Spanish. So if you just want to say like do like an hour at one, go to an hour at the other, that is kind of the fun thing.
And you're in a park, so you can get as big as you want.
Yeah, pretty big. Yeah.
And it's still going strong?
Yeah, I haven't been since the summer. I might go tomorrow, actually. I should check if it's on.
Maybe that's what we should do when I come out.
Yeah, man. Of course. Swecco's coming. Oh, yeah. Swecco's coming out to Alberta, folks.
3 weeks.
So we're going to have a first live podcast for me and him together since February. Since February. So
maybe that's like a Sunday morning thing before
ping
pong.
We're gonna do a little ping pong tournament too.
First we do, or maybe we should do like the No Munches Way podcast.
Oh yes, yeah. Our boy Alejandro también.
But if we're like free though, like live, then it'll have to. We're gonna have to figure that one out.
I got the microphones and everything.
Yeah,
Don't worry about your gear.
We're gonna have to figure something out.
Yeah.
No worries.
But no, I'll bring my gear. I'll bring my microphone. That's
yeah. What do you find? Swoop? WestJet?
Air Canada.
Ooh. Okay, folks.
Fancy.
Swacko, man.
Swacquito.
Swacko's doing better than he's like, no.
Air Canada. Yeah, so
Canada
that's yeah. Canada.
Aire Canada. Nice, man. Okay. One more, let me bring up. I want to talk about Squid Game eventually.
Yeah, I was gonna mention that. Yeah.
The what?
You know about Squid Game? Just while we're like,
I don't know what that is.
Oh, Cody, you've watched more than me, I think. Don't spoil anything for the audience or Marcus or me.
Yeah.
The Korean show.
3. It's more than, man. This thing is making headlines.
Yeah.
This is making news.
No todo mundo.
Todo mundo está mirando.
It's I think it's
Juego de
becoming
Calamar. Juego de Calamar.
I think it's becoming like the Korean version of Casa.
I honestly think that, dude, because it just went off, man. It went off like the day it was released. Yeah. And I've had friends.
So this is a TV show, right?
I was talking to my sister and her boyfriend who have like no interest in Korea. And my sister's boyfriend was watching it.
Yeah, man.
So this is clearly showing that like this is like really taken off.
This is Casa for sure, I think. Something about I don't know, like the storyline, like it's full on Korean.
Yeah.
Language wise, it's fun picking up little things here and there, just language wise. But as a cultural phenomenon right now, as a show, basically the day it was released, like all the rage right now. So Korean learners
it's being promoted so much here. Like you walk around the street and like half the taxis have like Squid Game advertisements on them.
Really?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Man. Yeah, man. I think this is like the show that, like, I'm trying to think of equivalents in other languages. I mean,
so what's it about? What's your pitch?
What's the premise?
I'll try to explain it.
Give the premise without giving anything away.
Yeah, without spoiling too much. I'm gonna have to give some spoilers.
Don't do anything crazy.
No, but like a trailer. Like give spoilers, like a trailer.
Give the trailer. The premise.
Okay, basically, a bunch of people who are like severely in debt get rounded up to like this random deserted island, and they have to like
play children's games.
Yeah, they have to compete against each other playing children's games. And in the first episode, let's just say shit gets real.
Yeah, intense off the bat. Interesting characters.
Start killing each other or what?
I'm not gonna give
let's not give anything away. It's intense.
How many episodes are you in, Senor?
I'm 3 in. There's 9 if I'm not mistaken.
I think there's I think you're right. 9. I think there's 9.
Yeah, but the first episode I think it's long too. It's like over an hour plus.
Something like that,
yeah. Like I was watching with even like Cholo Alejandro was like, dude, we gotta watch Squid Game. I was like, yeah, really?
Even
like,
Cholito
and my other buddy from Lloyd is like, dude, check out Squid Game.
Really?
So,
and you and Alejandro, are you watching it in Korean with English subtitles?
Yes.
Okay, good. That's the way.
Yeah.
Because I feel like most of the people, like who speak English, would just switch it to English audio.
That's so bad. Imagine watching right? Imagine watching Casa without Denver's laugh.
Blasphemy.
Yeah,
blasphemy. Egregious blasphemy. Sins. 7 deadly sins.
Hey, actually, I saw when I was at the trash house, the Airbnb that I was. Did I mention that on the podcast? By the way, the trash house.
La casa de chatarra.
So the Airbnb that I stayed at. That's what they called it. They called it the trash house.
When did you wait? What's your Airbnb like when you were with those Turcos?
The
Germans.
Ambition Deutsch también.
Yeah.
No?
So one day I was there and I was out in the little courtyard they had, and one of the German guys was watching Casa, but he was watching it in German.
Again, not.
I know that's like
do not approve.
I was like, but blasphemy. I found out in German, La Casa de Papel is called Das Haus des Geldes.
That makes sense.
The house of money.
Yeah, I don't care what you call it. Like, just put subtitles in any language, but for the love of God, keep the original audio.
Don't dub it. Yeah, don't dub it, man.
Yeah, dubbing.
Das ist wirklich super Deutsch.
Yeah, I don't know.
Dubbing
I don't agree with that practice.
It really takes away from so much, right?
Casa, like Berlin's voice or Tokyo's voice, like imagine that with
it's the voices. It's the voices.
Even like
right?
so Alejandro and we've dubbed that old guy in Squid Game. We've called him Abuelito. And it's just like, man, even that guy's voice for like an older Korean gentleman is like super unique and characteristic. Like I wouldn't want to hear
exactly
like the English version of that. So
I've experimented like switching into English just to see how it sounds. And in Casa, like the professor does like his voice in English is like not even close to how he sounds in Spanish.
Yeah, man.
And like a lot of the other characters,
how could it be
the same? Yeah. And I think with Squid Game, we switched into it for like 1 second. As soon as we heard the main character and the old guy speaking, we were like, no, this is dumb. Especially the old guy. He's not even an old guy. He's like he sounds like a middle-aged guy. It's so dumb.
Like, what is this? Yeah. No. It's kind of like with audiobooks, some people prefer like the original author reading the work too. If that particular person has a unique voice. Like sometimes you can't really like the audiobook's the audiobook.
I'm the same there. It's like it's awesome when it's the actual author who's doing the
right audiobook. Yeah, like, you know that person per se, maybe like even outside their writing, so it is unique to hear. But yeah, no, I just so I go check it out. It's I just watched Ep 3 last night and I was like, man, like
wait, Ian, wait till you get to episode 5.
I don't want to. Yeah, I can only imagine. Imagine. Even after episode 1, I was like, whoa. Man.
Did you finish it, Cody?
No, I have 3 episodes left.
Okay, I'm 3 behind you.
So when did this come out?
Recently. And it got like the day after, it was like #1 in Canada. And I'm assuming many other countries too.
Yeah.
Interesting. That's cool interesting show. how it went viral like that. 8.3 on IMDb.
Dude, yeah, no, check it.
It's like it's a high quality show. Like it's very enthralling. The story.
Yeah, I feel like it's like I feel like it's Parasite packed into like a series in a way of just like intensity and storyline.
This will be my next binge.
So yeah, man, it's a good pinch. Yeah, Squid Game.
Ojingeo.
Yeah, Ochingo.
Ochingo game. Ochingo game.
Ochingo game.
Ochingo game.
Juego de calamar.
So game is game? Game's
yeah,
the
game
same?
is the same, yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, I'm excited. That's actually, it's on the docket. That's probably after this podcast, actually.
Squid Game. Well, first I'm going to watch All or Nothing, the Toronto Maple Leafs, and then I'm going to watch Squid Games.
Yeah. Put some subtitles on that.
Yeah.
So,
I'll have to do that. I watched La Casa with Spanish subtitles. I thought that was pretty cool.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
yeah.
Something I've actually been trying, because that's like some of the little other language practice that I get is like I listen to podcasts in the morning and then I'll watch something when I have time. I'll watch something on Netflix in the evenings after work. And I watched Casa last week. And so I finished season 5. And with like my French, German, or Spanish, or Chinese is a little bit different because I like to read in Chinese. But with the European languages, I've been trying to watch things without subtitles.
I've heard that. Yeah. That's
just to focus
you to listen
on what
in
they're
more.
saying. Yeah.
Agreed.
And
yes.
I find like I actually don't really like using subtitles because since I'm very visual and I like reading, I can't help but read the whole time. And it kind of takes away from the experience of just watching.
I agree. I'm kind of like that as well.
Yeah,
I think it's a stepping stone thing.
Yeah, because right now, like La Casa, if you have to have subtitles on La Casa because it's so hard to understand.
There's some rapid, when what's his name, the police guy, what's his name?
Oh my god,
Coronel.
What is it? Otra vez?
No, I just know they say Coronel.
Coronel. Yeah. When he's like going off, like when he's mad at his like lieutenants and people in the Tamayo, right? Tamayo and Tamayo's like going off. Like, man, I like.
It's so fast. So I throw subtitles on there, but like in English, I find it annoying because otherwise, if I watch something in English with subtitles, I'm just gonna like read the text instead of like actually watching the movie, which is annoying.
But even when I was watching Casa, I just turned subtitles off because even though I can't understand like every single thing they're saying, like I get the gist of what's happening.
Yeah. No, of course. Yo, speaking of visuals, can we get into a little of our brains? And like Cody, you said you're a visual learner.
Yeah,
I think we all are, dude. Like in terms of like our brains and images. I attended recently I've been trying to like with my language classes move away from just text on the board. And I think this is like a very like beginner A1, A2 type of practice, but it's essential because you're not getting to B2 unless you get through A1 and A2. And so a stat brought up in professional development that I attended lately is our brains process images at like 60,000 times. Like, I don't know exactly in what context more than like just plain text, but like our brains are so like image programmed, which, I think evolutionarily, if you think about like as a baby growing up, that's what's around you. Like that makes up your like tactile world. And so like what I've been doing so much now, and I've been even when it's like a common cognate like delicioso or something, I've just been like in my slides, I use a ton of slides teaching, is like putting GIFs, emojis, photos, like visual stimulation to accompany language learning. And I feel like as a language teacher, at least, you're not just referring to like a word on the board. You have like even if I say like el lago, and I have a picture of a lago right there, there's some kind of like connection right there that you can like really foster and build. And then like I was like, man, I just try some of this with my own like simple Korean sentences. Like some of it got like a little mnemonic-y, but just like What's stop in Korean? Wo something sewo.
멈추하다.
Okay, whatever the phrase I was looking up at the time, like I was able to put like "whoa" on a stop sign, and it was like popped out at me now because I was like thinking of that phrase. I was like associating it to a visualization. So for beginner levels and maybe especially like not cognitive rich languages, I think like image association really big. So I don't know like exactly what you guys think with your own and I think this is a lot different like Sueco and your like new heights of Spanish and French. Like I think this is a different conversation, but like beginner levels really advocating visual stimulation at like every term. Like if it's like I have a question about like cuando es tu cumpleaños, like having like a birthday cake on the slide. So there's just like constant reinforcement. So I don't know if that makes sense to you guys, but it's just been a new theory right now where I'm just like visuals for like extra context.
I'm a big fan of that.
Well, I was just fascinated by that stat. I can see it like some worksheets sometimes when I'm looking at a language worksheet and it's just like plain text, like block text, and it's so unappealing.
Yeah, that doesn't work. I agree. You need a visual.
Yeah. But I'm just saying like to build like really solid base languages.
That's why I love like learning through videos, like watching videos.
Yeah, right. Like
it's always like you see it and you hear it and you
German
read it. If you like,
on the street,
videos on YouTube, like pedagogic videos on YouTube, when it's like with subtitles, with the subtitles on, so like you read it, you see it, and you hear it at the same time because you want to trigger those three things, right?
I think that's it. I think it's like that sensory trinity or trifecta, what do you want to call it?
Yeah, you want to get triggered.
That's why like YouTube is such a powerful language learning platform, to be honest.
No,
because there's so many good pedagogic channels and in all these languages, right? And
for the popular languages.
Yes, for the popular, I don't know, but in Spanish and in French, there's so many good channels, and I can binge YouTube language YouTube.
Yeah,
just watching all these videos and trying to like snap up words and phrases.
It's more interesting when like visual stimuli is coming at you,
right? But absolutely. Hence the video format.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Right. Because don't get me wrong, I love listening to podcasts, and I think that listening is its own skill.
But YouTube is the best.
But YouTube, like just for that extra, I don't know, like let's say someone's explaining to me like the history of Indochina or something. Like if they have like the actual map.
It's extra picante. It's easier. It's just easier to remember.
Yeah. So it's just like, why isn't this like a huge hack?
It is a huge hack. It is a huge hack. That's what I do. Like that's my language.
No, but I'm talking like, like across the language learning. Like that would basically like if I was like had like a first year foreign language teacher amongst me and they were showing me stuff they had developed, I would be really like a GIF like a que hora te despiertas. Just get like a funny GIF of a guy getting out of bed next to that sentence.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can act like here's the thing, you can like act it out yourself too. Like there's lots of like little contextual clues that you can give, but like because I've started to realize it's like if there's no cognate, like there's no obvious cognate to something, then you really got to get like creative to how you're going to represent understanding. Now you put it in context to what you've previously learned, and that's what like I've been doing more of that with myself. Like I need to get a new Korean word, let's put it into like a bigger context phrase that I understand. But it's like, man, how do you? That's what I mean. Just like thinking more like just the language teaching side is like, I don't know, like chatarra. Let's take that example from the top of the hour. Like chatarra, like I think like a visualization, right? Like junk in your garage, right? Aquí hay mucha chatarra en mi casa. Whereas like, okay, the kids, they can get the context of what chatarra is. So yeah, visuals. Go visual. I'm really curious.
Go visual.
Yeah, even like flashcards.
Yeah, flashcard. Yeah, just having like a little image on there.
It's basically my new critique of like any type of language learning resource now is
it visual or not?
Yeah, basically, because if it's just like super text heavy, then I think the brain is going to miss out on image processing. So, fascinating. There's lots of research done on it and stuff. So, really cool. Really cool.
I'll check it out, buddy. Yeah, no, that's awesome.
Well, no, I'm just talking about like in your own practices if it comes about. Or when you're talking to people at your meetups, be like, are you using images? Or how are you
use images?
Basically, that's my new.
I'll ask around.
Prospect, especially the beginner phase. Like, really cognate. Especially if it's not like Korean, yeah, there's cognates. There's actually quite a few, but there's a lot non-cognates. So, okay, Sueco. So, what's your game plan to get your Spanish and French to
Italki every week. Italki every week. Meetups every week. Meetups and Italki every week, and in between a lot of podcasts and YouTube. That's my recipe, man. That's my recipe for success. It's worked before, and it's gonna work in the future. That's what I do. That's the plan.
And you feel you're making the strides.
It's easy progress. Easy progress.
Yeah.
Every week. I feel better and better every week.
That consistency is so key.
Consistency.
Yeah,
yep.
Absolutely.
So just do it. Just go in and book a bunch of Italki classes. Just do it.
It's just
no pinching. Just
no
do
pinching.
It.
No.
Like there's no excuse. It's so cheap anyway, so just do it.
That old expression, like it's better to follow a good plan consistently compared to not following a perfect plan. Type of thing. I think that's just so, no matter the skill actually that you're developing. So
yeah.
Okay, what about like literature?
I read the New York Times Spanish edition every week.
Yeah, okay.
And French, I'm not there yet.
Right.
I like reading journalism.
Keeping it, keeping it in my interest.
That's my literature.
Yeah.
Right now.
No, that's how do you? I subscribe to the New York Times. I have the app. There's just a way to set it into Spanish.
I don't probably. I just do it on my laptop.
You do it on the laptop. Nice.
There's good articles in Spanish. Really good articles in Spanish.
100%.
About like the economy of Argentina. Super. The
current economic situation
in Argentina.
It's como like, Lebanon or okay?
It's cojones.
Yeah.
So,
inflación.
The inflación por doquier. Yeah, but it's fascinating. New York Times Spanish edition. It's like the perfect level too for like advanced learners.
I always like El País.
El País es bueno también, pero es español.
Sí, pero hay las partes de América y
todo el mundo. El País es bueno. Sí.
What's another one I know? Le Monde, I think for
Le Monde.
Le Monde.
And then Der Spiegel, I think has always been the biggest.
There's some good ones in German.
One.
Deutsche Welle is good too.
Well, yeah. Well, especially like Deutsche Welle for language learning resources.
Yeah.
Quite cool. I feel like there's an Italian one.
Le Montreal Gazette.
Okay. Is that the like we've got Radio Canada, La Presse.
Radio Canada est vraiment très bon.
I think Italian. There's one called Il Figo. I'm trying to think of like the most popular one.
That's a cool thing, knowing like the major newspapers in each.
I think this one's historical, like Pravda in the Soviet Union.
Yeah,
like
Pravda.
Commie rag. Yeah. Pravda is always referenced.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And I think for Chinese, it's a little bit it's kind of difficult to find like newspaper
Yeah, because there's no
like
freedom of press.
No, yeah, I know, but like I'm talking because like there's the People's Daily, and like there's some.
Thanks for sending the 2 Michaels back, by the way.
Merci bien gros, merci.
And there's like
Bro.
they've got like People's Daily, Xinhua, and like some other things, but it's really difficult because reading is such a different ballgame in Chinese. It's kind of difficult to find like good news reading sources in Chinese. But there's actually a really good app that's solved that problem. It's called the Chairman's Bow, and it's
Chairman's
got
bow?
it's got like from HSK levels 1 to 6, which is like the equivalent of A1 to C2.
Cool. Okay.
And you can select your level and read newspaper articles based on your level, and it's really
That
cool.
is cool.
I think
That
it's
is
a little
cool.
bit. It costs a little bit of money, but it's a really good app.
There's a website where you could basically copy and paste any news article and then say like turn this 1,000-word article into like 250 words. So it's like a summarizer in a way. And I think you can use that in other languages, like in Spanish. So it's like to break things down and whatnot. But that's cool for
so if you're learning
it's like
Chinese,
that graded reader's idea, right?
Yeah, if you're learning Chinese, definitely use the Chairman's Bow if you can afford to spend a little bit of money on that. And for Korean, honestly, this is another thing I'm struggling with, like finding in Korean, is that I haven't really found a good like kind of Chairman's Bow equivalent for Korean. So I'm not really focusing on reading news things in Korean right now.
No, that is the thing. Like some languages just kick ass with certain resources, and then next language is impoverished.
Yeah. That's probably why Spanish and French are so easy to learn, because there's so many good resources.
There's amazing resources.
Yeah.
And actually, I'm not gonna lie. I'm like, this might sound kind of weird, but like from a language learning perspective, I'm kind of jealous of people learning English. Because if you're gonna learn a language, oh, dude, English is like there's language resources for learning English is a jackpot, man. It's a gold mine. There's so like learning English must be so interesting.
Yeah. Well, not like English must have the most accent diversity, with just the amount of like from around the world, like like from India to a Russian learning to like I'm assuming the amount of different accents you could hear in English.
Yeah, actually, this is kind of interesting. I was talking to my girlfriend and some other Korean people about this recently. That like, I think for a native English speaker, if you're not good at acting, you can still do this like in your head. You can pretty much envision how almost every accent sounds like in English, right?
That's right.
But for a language like
that's an interesting insight.
Like Korean,
you can't do that. For Spanish, you can't do like a Russian Spanish accent. Like what?
You guys should
what do you thought? That doesn't exist.
Okay, maybe I don't know. Everyone should go check out Big Bong's video where he does French accents, like 50 different ones. Like he imitates Russians speaking French to
that's
phenomenal video. Phenomenal video.
But it's not like English, like how you can do different accents in English.
No, but like this one's close to like how when he does like Russians learning French, it's pretty amazing.
That's sweet.
But okay, like Sweco, hearing some like I don't know, like an African accent of Swedish.
I could do that. And like another classic one is
but do you hear that?
American.
Is that common to hear?
Yes, ish. I could probably do that. I could probably tell that out. But the other classic one in like other languages is like an American accent in other languges. You could easily tell an American American accent from other accents, right? Arrivederci, like for example, and especially in Spanish, right?
I was quite impressed.
Spanish, German.
Dos cervezas, por favor.
Yes.
Yeah. I was quite impressed in Squid Game. There's a East Indian character. His Korean's lit, man.
He speaks really good Korean. Yeah. He like he has a slight bit of an accent though. I like for me.
Yes,
It was
you
obviously
should. Like that's tough. Yeah.
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 Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But it
No,
was just
impressive.
interesting to hear like accents in other languages. It's because that's just not something that you hear very often. I think it's one that like really sticks out for me just because I have a very personal memory from this. When I did my exchange in Germany, I think I've told you guys about this. There was a guy from there was a Canadian program, so there was one of the guys was from Quebec, and he was in the beginner level. So listening to him speak German was so funny. Das ist sehr gut. Ich habe das gemacht.
Apprendre l'allemand. Apprendre l'allemand.
You remember when we were doing that, Cody? Back in like Drumheller or whatever that was.
Yeah,
that just came to mind.
We were doing different accents in other languages.
That's so funny.
Like German accents in Spanish.
Oh my god.
And whatnot. That was fun as hell.
Just cross the wires.
Like do a friend. That's the cool thing. Like, if you're a polyglot, you do it. You could have like all these funny combinations. Like do a French accent in German, for example, or a German accent in Portuguese, and a Portuguese accent in Italian. Like you go back and forth like that. That's like a food challenge.
Mijn naam is. Ik
Senor.
Ik heisse Herinje. Guten Tag.
Wie geht es Ihnen?
Sehr gut, sehr gut.
Yes.
All right, youngs. We're in an hour here on the podcast. Episode 55.
Sufficient.
Das ist suffizient. Das ist
genug.
Das ist genug für heute.
Für uns. Für heute.
Ich glaube, dass wir da enden können.
Dankeschön, everyone. Lots going on. Podcast gonna be coming at you consistently. Guests, us three. Our boy Alejandro, he'll be on soon. Otro episodio en Puro Español. Yes, Sueco in Alberta in a few weeks. Check us out. SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple Music, TuneIn. TuneIn's I haven't used it in a while, but TuneIn's always great if you want to like find international.
If you want to tune in.
International radio. If you want to tune in, those are Lingaholicos. And yeah, check out Squid Game. It's awesome. So
I'll do it, man. I'll go do it. All right. Ciao.
Not just you, everybody. Yeah.
Everybody. Peace.